What's going on, everyone? Bobo Mac here for Crisis in the Toyverse. That's right, you are hearing me via audio instead of hearing me via YouTube. Now, the reason that we are doing an audio podcast is so, from time to time, I'm going to be doing interviews with people in the toy community, be it those who create toys, those who review toys, and those who really just enjoy toys. So this is something a little different. It's not going to be a full-time thing. This is going to be more supplement, if you will. So on today's debut episode, I'm talking with Zach Oat from Diamond Select Toys, and we're going to be covering everything that went down at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, I recorded this last week during my lunch at work, so I only had an hour to work with, but Zach was gracious enough to give me his time and share all the fun stuff that was San Diego Comic-Con and a lot of cool and amazing toy products that will be coming out in the near future. So, guys, you know Diamond Select's a huge friend of the show, and I definitely appreciate all the stuff they do for us. So without further ado, let's go to that interview right now, and I'll talk to you guys towards the end of this. Thanks so much. Zach, thank you so much for being here. I know you've had such a crazy, hectic schedule as of late. I know everything happened with San Diego, and you guys just trucking forward. How are you recovering from everything that was SDCC?
Oh, real good. It was a great show. I get a chance to blow off steam at night. We'll go out and get some dinner together as a team, and so every day I have a little bit of decompression. But once you get back, you gotta catch up on all the emails. You gotta see what you missed. You gotta approve packaging and all sorts of different things. So a lot piles up, but I think I finally dug myself out. And I think my family has finally forgiven me for being away for a full week. So I got that going for me. But yeah, I think I'm back. You've been asking me if I'm back. Yeah, I think I'm back.
Well, hey, being back's not a bad thing.
Little John
Is
Wick.
Is it safe to say that doing the conventions and all that, to me, when I cover events and stuff, it always reminds me of, I guess, like the carnival circus life in a way. You're just going from one town to the next.
I'm sure there are lots of companies that do that sort of tour, and other toy companies as well. I haven't paid too close attention to how how many shows different companies do, but we only do 4, and they're pretty well spaced out. And they're all pretty different from each other. I mean, New York Comic-Con is in October, and that's very similar to San Diego. Obviously, very different town, but it's a big, busy show. C2E2 in Chicago, that's in the spring, and it used to be a much quieter show, and it's actually starting to really grow. So it's getting to be up there with the other two. And then we do New York Toy Fair in the winter in February, and that's very different because it's for press and for retailers and licensors. People come by and make the deals with us, but it's not for fans. So there aren't. It's a whole different thing that you're trying to do there. Obviously, you're trying to get the word out to people, and I take press appointments at the other shows too. But we're not necessarily selling anything. We're not manning a cash register, which is what we do to pay for the other conventions we go to. So it's a different show, but luckily we have a nice break of a month or 2 or even 3 in between most of the shows we do.
Well, that's good. At least it isn't as hectic as it seems, because I go, man, you guys are always everywhere, and I know a lot of the other big companies are too. It just seems, but maybe I just have tunnel vision. I just think, oh yeah, the next show's like New York Comic-Con. That's right around the corner.
Well, in terms of planning, yeah, we need that. We start planning the next show right as soon as we get back. Sometimes we have to start planning it before the next one, the first one happens, and that's when it really throws me off. I'm like, I needed to be planning stuff for New York before San Diego even happened, and you know, it's I'm not the best planner, so I'm always struggling with my timelines. But it's definitely seems like it's coming up a lot faster. It's only what 2 months away, so that's
Yeah, it's right
it's pretty
around there.
soon. Pretty soon.
Absolutely. Oh, I meant to ask you, how did you guys had like a special event going on off-site from San Diego this year? It was like a little get-together thing. I remember seeing that in my Twitter feed.
Yeah,
Uh,
we've done this before. We take over a restaurant that's in the Gaslamp district of San Diego. It's called Taste and Thirst. It's if you're ever in San Diego, it's really good wings and it's a bar and it's they got good burgers and we sort of take it over. We skin it like we put up big banners when we took it over once. We did it all for Aliens once. It was very alien themed. Other times we've just done sort of a general DST lounge sort of theme, and it's just we put up a lot of graphics of our products, and we have our products on display there, like on the tables or in display cases, and yeah, it's we give coupons away at the booth, and tell people to check it out, and we'll throw a little event there for like a little reception for press and again retailers and licensors and stuff like that. So it's just a fun little place for us to go. Sometimes we'll even go there and get dinner on a night where we're not having that reception. We'll just go there because it's just good food and they're open really late. Yeah, that's something that we've done. Gosh, like 3 or 4 out of the last 5 years, possibly longer. But it's become somewhat of a tradition.
that's cool. I thought that was very cool. I'd seen you guys promote it before. I don't know why it just stuck out this year in my mind. So I figured I'd touch base on that and whatnot. Let's see here. When it came, well, not when it came, but what would you say was your favorite thing to talk about this year at San Diego, like reveal wise, that you guys are offering?
Reveal wise, gosh, uh, we had a lot of people reacting very positively to the John Wick stuff we showed. Because I think this was the first San Diego we actually showed John Wick. We had something at C2E2 in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Our first diorama that we're doing, our PVCs, the galleries. And then this show, San Diego, we had another gallery, and then also the action figure. And we're about to solicit that too. We're about to open pre-orders up for that later on this month. So you'll be able to pre-order that pretty soon. And the reaction to it, on the booth, and there's a lot of stuff in the booth, but the reaction to that was pretty strong, pretty positive, and a lot of people were really excited about it. There's also I liked talking about the Star Trek stuff we had on display just because it's been a long time since we've had anything new on display for Star Trek. And Star Trek fans know that, and they don't cease to remind us of it. But we want to make Star Trek stuff, so we've been working on a lot of different things, and we showed off 3 new action figures and 1 new ship at the show. And pre-orders are already open for the first 2 figures, which are based on the new Star Trek movies, the 2008 movie. Actually, these are based on Star Trek Into Darkness. The costumes are slightly different between the movies. And later this month, you'll be able to pre-order the Borg, which is we've been talking about for a while, but it's a fully interchangeable, customizable Borg figure, which is something we've never really been able. Nobody's ever really done anything like that, a fully customizable, interchangeable one. But even we have been, trying to get more Borg figures out there for a while. We had a whole wave of Borg-themed figures that just didn't get the orders towards the end of our previous, our initial Star Trek line. And a lot of people are upset about that. But now, hopefully, they like this one. I think it's pretty cool.
No, I saw video coverage of all that stuff, and the Star Trek stuff looked cool. I mean, you guys added in I guess laser blast effects. Is that the proper term?
Yeah, they're like energy effects for the phasers for the Star Trek, the Into Darkness stuff. I don't know. I don't think we're doing it for the Borg, but he'll have like alternate, weapon arms and eyepieces and a different head. I think one of the heads is human and one is Klingon. But yeah, there's a lot of accessories, phasers and phaser rifles and a couple of bridge piece diorama bases for the Into Darkness figure.
those look pretty cool. I was actually pretty excited about those. The Borg piece, I mean, by itself, I mean, the potential there, like you said, I think's really amazing because I mean, you're going to be able to swap out, and it's going to be a great army builder.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
Well, I'm sure it'll be fine because, I mean, let's be honest here. Who doesn't like Borg if you're a Star Trek fan?
That was my thinking. I thought everybody loved the Borg. I mean, I've been pushing for them to do a Borg ship like we do. We have to make them a certain size for them to make sense for our price, the price we charge for our electronic ships. So if two ships are really different sizes, they're going to be pretty close to the same size in our line. But the Borg is obviously would be way out of scale, but it would still be a really cool electronic ship, I think.
Well, come on, that cube feature. I mean, with the lights in it, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, blinking lights all over it. I mean, the sculpting on it would be crazy because you want it to have some sort of depth. Not just like a flat side, but to do that with any kind of depth, I imagine would be real. I can picture how it would be done, but it would be a real challenge. And but the blinking lights and maybe a little clip-on miniature Enterprise or something like that, I think that could be really cool.
That could be really cool. I like your thinking on that. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, we're not making it. Just so everybody knows.
No, I know.
We're not making it. So if anybody's just tuning in, this isn't something we're working on. It's just something I would love to see. Just because I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan out there. I know there's people who are way into it, but I watch Next Generation a lot. I didn't watch Voyager or anything like that, but I watched Next Generation a lot, and I watched a lot of the original Star Trek. So I consider myself a fan. So I'm excited to show off this Star Trek stuff.
That's how I kind of am. Like when I was a kid, they were in the afternoons. There would be reruns of not only the original series, but then there'd be reruns of the Next Generation. So I would catch those as a kid in the afternoon after school, and then I would read the books at the library, like the old books.
The books, yeah.
Like from the 70s or maybe even early 80s. Late 70s, early 80s. So all those, there were tons of those books. I read a whole bunch of them as a kid. And then I didn't really get into Deep Space Nine, but I did watch Voyager because I still like Star Trek. But when Voyager came on, I gave Voyager a shot, and I grew to like Voyager.
It was just when I never got to. I watched some Deep Space Nine, not all of it, and I watched maybe a couple episodes of Enterprise, but the first two were the ones I really liked. I'd never really read any of the Next Generation books, but I read a lot of the original series novels, and I read a lot of the original series book adaptations by James Blish, and they were really well written, novella forms of each episode, and or at least short stories, and they were really good. So I even now I can't remember if I saw an episode or I just read the novelization of it because they were so well done and very vivid.
Whatchamacallit, I wanted to. It seemed like you guys got a really great reaction to a lot of the statues you guys showed off this year. It seemed like a lot of people really fell in love with statues because you guys, I mean, from the life bus to the PVCs and everything in between, like people seem to really gravitate towards that online this year.
It was a lot of what we had there. Like we have, a certain number of action figures, but really the overwhelming stuff that we have there now is the galleries, which are very popular because they're so detailed and beautiful and only $45. So obviously those have, really picked up. And we had a lot of Marvel on display. We had a lot more DC on display, including a couple things that we were showing for the first time. We showed more Dark Knight's metal based stuff from the comics, which I think a lot of people were surprised by because there were some really great character designs in there. And then
there really were.
Yeah, and then we did a few we showed off a Dark Knight Returns piece from the comic book, but we also showed off Dark Knight movie and Dark Knight Rises movie based dioramas of Christian Bale as Batman, Heath Ledger as a Joker, and Tom Hardy as Bane. And I think we're working on a Catwoman too. Don't quote me on that. But that got a pretty good response too. Obviously there's been a lot of stuff for those movies, but we've never done anything, certainly. So we're pretty excited to be tackling that trilogy.
No, almost every statue that I saw, I was generally impressed with. I'm not a big statue guy, just because of the price points of statues versus like action figures, and I know there's always that divide. But there were two things I took away from your showings this year. A, you had some amazing pieces, and B, the price point I thought was phenomenal for somebody who wants to get into statues, because there was a big range, and but the quality between all those ranges was actually fairly consistent and fairly awesome on all fronts.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've always wondered, how, I mean, not to say, oh, well, if we make these, why would anybody ever buy a statue again? But, like a $150 statue. But we also make $150 statues, and we make $200 statues. We make really big pieces. Those busts, those half-scale busts we're doing, those are about 150 as well. And, I've realized that there are people who they want that heft and that weight. I mean, there are some people who, picked up one of our exclusives, like a Marvel gallery. I watched them pick it up. Said, I thought it would be heavier. And then they put it back and they walked away. And it's, they pay by the pound. So they want to have something that's going to feel substantial to them. That's why some people see our Marvel Select figures as very, very great values, because some of them are heavy as heck. They have to be like strapped onto the card back so they don't fall off.
Like that Thing and Abomination and Juggernaut.
Juggernaut. We have like plastic ties holding the blister card onto the cardboard because they're ridiculously heavy. But that's a lot of people find value in weight, and I'm not discounting that at all. If that's something that's important to you, then that's great. But the heavier it is, there's more costs associated with that, and the material is there's costs associated with that too, and it's so for us to be able to, we do some pretty heavy pieces at $45. Our first Hulk PVC was $45, and that was pretty heavy. Our second one I think was $50, the Gladiator one, and that was those are both pretty heavy pieces. But we charge $45 pretty much for any size that we do in that gallery line. So somebody like X-23 is going to be a lot lighter than say Drax or the Hulk. So it's a tough, we try to make it, we want to keep it consistent. So, maybe one, we make less on than another, but we try to keep it consistent across the board. We do the same thing with our busts too, our resin busts. One may be bigger than the other, but, we charge about $60 for all of them. The regular size busts, not the half scales.
No, like I said, I definitely see a great quality there, and I think that's awesome that you guys give the same amount of love and detail and care to something that may be on the lower end, but just as much love and care as to something that's on the bigger end. I know, like for the bigger bust, you guys showed that Iron Man, the classic looking Iron Man with the curvature on the helmet.
Yeah.
I forget which Iron Man that is. But that one looked really, really beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know what era you would call that. I mean, I guess it's the minute he stopped. Age, isn't it? I guess so. I mean, it's obviously post his original armor, the gray and then the gold one, and I forget if he had the nose first or if he had the nose second. I'm pretty sure he had the nose later on. So it's sometime around when he had the nose. But definitely a classic Iron Man as opposed to a modern Iron Man. I'm a big Iron Man fan, so that's it. I'm a big fan of that piece. Although we have a couple other ones that are coming out too. We just did. We didn't show it off at the show, but we recently showed off a Mark I from the movies. The armor where he's blasting off from escaping the cave, and it's a really nice piece. It's huge. That's one of our 200 to 250 pieces, and it's just a really nice one. We did a nice one for another couple other milestones. We did a milestone one for Civil War, where it paired up with the Captain America. That was really cool. And we did a Premier Collection one sculpted by Claiborne Moore, who does a lot of work for us now. And that one came out really nice. That's talk about heavy. He's like standing on cinder blocks, kind of like big slabs of stone, and it weighs as much as a slab of stone. It's a pretty heavy piece. But the great part is we've got all these, except for Clay, who pretty much just does that premier collection scale, the $150 statue scale. We have people working on all, the same people who work on, one level of statue, the $200 and $150 to $200 level of statue. They also work on the $45 gallery PVCs. It really is just about scale and material. But Jean St. Jean has sculpted both both premieres and galleries. Alejandro Pereira, and they're all designed by the same great designers too. Caesar, who else? Nelson Asensio. Another sculptor, Alterton, is another great sculptor, and I think he's done stuff at both scales as well. But yeah, we've got a lot of talented people, and we try to find the right project for them, whether it's PVC or resin or what.
Definitely. Let's see here. Let's go back to toys for a moment. I got two questions for you about Vinimates. So I'm going to get the first one out of the way. My girlfriend wants to know. Now, she's not nearly anywhere in the same category me as toy collecting. She kind of puts up with me doing the whole toy thing. But she wanted me to ask you, why do the Vinimates not have a nose? And I could not give her a good answer for that, except it's designed in the Minimate style, which I don't think have noses either.
That is true. Since they first appeared, Minimates have been cylindrical heads, and they started in 2002. Marvel Minimates started in 2003, but the first ones came out in 2002. They're always cylindrical, and it's hard to draw a nose on either you'd have to have a sculpted nose on every piece, which makes it hard to print the face onto it, right? Or you'd have to print the nose on, and it'd either look flat if you did it kind of straight on, or it would look weird if you did it to the left or to the right. It would look unusual. So we just eliminated them right off the bat. I wasn't around back then. I wasn't involved in the decision to eliminate noses, but as far as I can tell, that's primarily a purely technical one, but it also makes them more of a caricature or a parody of a character than so you don't have to worry as much about likeness, and also noses are really hard to capture anyway in 2D or 3D. So it eliminates a really majorly difficult aspect of toy production right off the bat.
Well, see, there you go. She's got the answer. It doesn't bother me in any way. It hasn't stopped me, but I was like, I'll ask.
Because I don't know if you've noticed, Legos also do not have noses.
I made that point too, and she just kind of looked at me like I was a weirdo or something. I was like, well, Legos don't have noses. I don't hear you talking about the great Lego nose controversy. I don't know. I told her I'd ask, so I asked. Minis were kind of inspired by Japanese block figures like Kubrick's back in the day, back in the early 2000s. But those were in turn inspired by Legos. So it's sort of a grandfathered in concept of the no nose. But it certainly seems to be done for the same reason. For the same reasons for all of the different lines that you're talking about, but there's also a certain amount of emulating what's come before. Nothing wrong with that at all. You guys showed off some pretty cool new Vinimates. Let's see, what you said, Sonic's coming in a special pack. You said, was that correct, or was that the Minimates item?
The Minimates will be in a 4-pack. We do 4-packs. We do 4-packs a lot for Minimates. The Vinimates will just be individually boxed. We've only done a couple of 2-packs. Some of the DC ones. But the Sonics will be Sonic, Tails, and Eggman will be single packs. We have more Kingdom Hearts ones coming. We have ones coming for the new game where they look like they're in Toy Story World. So we'll have those 3. Those are the first 3 for that will be Sora and Goofy and Donald. We showed off more of the DC Comics ones, which I know you've been working with. We're doing Green Arrow, Supergirl, and Flash in their comic looks. We've done their TV looks before, but these will be comic based. Pretty different, pretty distinctly different when you look at them. And then what other Vinimates do we show off that were new?
Were the Injustice ones?
The Injustice ones actually just hit this week. They just arrived in stores. I think I need to send you a set of those. The next one would be Arrow. Arrow TV series would hit next.
Oh, okay.
And that's Arrow, Black Canary, and Deathstroke. So those will be next. They should come out in the next couple of weeks, I think. Trying to think what other ones. There's another wave of Kingdom Hearts, the Halloween Town Kingdom Hearts ones that are still in the pipeline. They haven't hit yet. But I don't know. I don't know what the next one to put out would be. I'm trying to remember if there's ones in the new previews has by the end of the month you'll be able to pre-order those comic-based ones. Then we might end up doing some more for Predator, but we'll have to see.
Gotcha. I actually I lied. I told you there were 2 Vinimate questions. I have 3. So I recently picked, I know, I'm a big jerk. So I picked up the Dark Tower Vinimates, both the Gunslinger and the Man in Black, recently. Those will be coming up soon, folks, in reviews. But I noticed that those 2 kind of had a bobble with their head. I don't know if I just got a bad batch or what, but when I looked at the newer ones, it seems like the sculpting had changed from that time to some of the stuff that we got recently. Am I right in that, or am I?
You're right that there is a difference, and I guess we've never talked about this before. You've been doing a lot with the DC ones. Now our DC ones are static. There's no articulation on them at all. But the other ones that we do for Sonic and Ghostbusters and Alien and Predator and all that, those actually have articulated necks, ball jointed necks. It's purely a licensing thing, kind of like how some pops are bobbleheads, some pops aren't, some are on bases, some aren't. It's the same kind of thing. It's just a question of licensing. So DC ones do not have articulated necks, and everybody else does.
Gotcha.
And it just gives a little bit of you can, for the ones that do have the articulated head, you really can see it really changes up the pose. I think personally, you can really just turning a head from one side to the other. The pose can mean something completely different. I find. Me personally,
I found that too when I this past weekend I took both Gunslinger and I took the Gunslinger outside, and I got some fun shots with him. But I noticed that I could turn his neck. I was like, this is kind of nice here. I'm digging this.
Yeah, no, there's another one in that Dark Tower series that I think I just requested for you, which is the Tracker creature, one of the sort of inhuman characters from the movie. I forget what they call. I think they're called Trackers. But I'm sending you one of those so you can pair them up with those other 2.
Oh, sweet. That will be awesome. Thank you. Let's see here. Going back to Sonic for a moment. I noticed you guys were doing. You said you had some PVC statues coming to GameStop, was it?
Yes. Yeah. GameStop is going to have the first 2 Sonic PVC statues exclusively. They'll have Sonic and they'll have a Tails one. They're also going to have a couple of Kingdom Hearts PVCs as well. Sora, Goofy, Pete, I want to say, and then also a Mickey and Donald. I believe those will all start off exclusively at GameStop. They may be available at other places after a certain period of time, but right now they're going to be exclusively at them. And if they were, they'll be exclusively there for at least 6 months.
Those pieces look beautiful. I just have to say, I love the I guess base with the statue and of the level in the game and with the ring and stuff. When I first saw those, I think it was at Toy Fair was the first time I had seen those, and those look really wonderful.
Yeah, they came out really great. I think those were sculpted by Steve Varner Studios. Steve Varner's been sculpting in the industry for a long time. I think he did like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for Playmates back in the day. But
Oh,
he does a lot of our animated style stuff. A lot of the Batman, the animated series pieces that we've done. A lot of that is by Varner. So he's definitely one of the greats in toy sculpting.
that. Well, it definitely shows with that, and then once you bring in everything else, it all paints a nice, beautiful little animated picture.
All right, guys, before we get back to talking with Zach, I want to let you guys know we had a bit of a technical difficulty. I guess the only plus was that it didn't happen live with people listening in and whatnot. But so we had to stop it, reset up everything. So we're going to pick it back up right now, talking all things Ghostbusters with Diamond Select Toys. Enjoy, guys. So let's talk. It would be rude of me not to bring up the Ghostbuster Selects. Before we got cut off, I was saying that the next wave's hitting next week. Am I right? Or
Yes, Series 8 hits on Wednesday, and that's a series with last three Ghostbusters 2 figures. The gray suit Winston and Peter, and then the slime blower Ray with the interchangeable possessed head.
that head is fantastic. The fact that you guys included that in there is just amazing.
No, it's a very cool piece. I myself have bought some pink slime, so I can see if I can get some good pictures of them hosing him down with it.
I have a whole bunch of pink slime for that purpose too. Back when I bought Winston in slime blower mode, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need some pink slime.
I also got some glow in the dark slime. Let's see if that comes out. I'll have to get a black light or something.
Now you got the mind working. Now I'm gonna have to track down some glow in the dark slime. Way to go, Zach.
I'm being paid by the glow in the dark slime council.
But no, those look fantastic. It's been awesome what you guys have been doing with the Ghostbusters line. I know you hear it all the time, but I'm going to say what everybody else has said. Those have been really just fantastic figures.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the movies, so when I found out we could do these, I was pretty excited. And when I started seeing the designs, I'm like, these are going to be really, really great. These are going to be the best Ghostbusters figures ever made. And there were some people who didn't get on board with the whole idea early on, but I think by now people are seeing that we're fans and they see what we're trying to do. And the probably the thing that really did get the biggest response at San Diego was probably the real Ghostbusters figures, the ones that are being done in the animated style, which, some people were saying, hey, why didn't you do, remake the Kenner figures? And it's like, well, because we want to make really, really good real Ghostbusters figures. So, the proportions are a little more realistic. The head sculpts are not so realistic. They're we tried to base them on the cartoon as much as possible. But I think when people get them in their hands, they're going to be very, very, very excited by them. More excited than they seem to be right now.
I don't know about anybody else, but like I can tell you from my experience, I am so ready for those figures. Like, words can't describe it. I got somebody working on a containment grid right now.
Really?
For it. So once I start getting those guys, I'm gonna have some fun photo ideas with those.
Excellent. I can't wait to see them.
Well, you'll be the first to know.
Awesome.
No, I think you guys have done that line justice, and we've had, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but Ghostbusters has had mixed results in terms of action figures in the past, but for you guys have given tons of accessories and posability, and they look good. The sculpts are good, and I just really enjoy them. And the fact that I have this big giant tower, or not tower, but building top that hangs on a shelf in my room when I do all my reviews and pictures and stuff, you can't beat that, man. And the fact that we're at a firehouse too, awesome.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are like so what's the diorama going to be for the real Ghostbusters? And it's like, well, no, because we need to use 15 parts to build this thing. So you're going to have to get the Ghostbusters 2 figures and the real Ghostbusters figures if you want to build this massive Firehouse Doors diorama.
Yeah, no, that diorama's, I am chomping to have that thing.
Even I don't even have one myself. I get to play with it at the shows, but I have yet to get them to send me all the pieces to it here at my office. So I'm like, I gotta get my hands on this. I've got the first 3 series, of course, like everybody does, but well, everybody will next week. But I'm still only got half a Firehouse, so I gotta do something about getting those extra pieces in.
Absolutely. Real quick, let's talk Pacific Rim. I know you guys are doing a ton of stuff. You got that giant bust. You got the blind bag stuff, and then you guys have more selects coming out in that line.
Yes, yeah. The big bust is part of that Legends in 3 Dimensions line. We're starting it with Deadpool, and then we're going to mix a bunch of different guys. Iron Giant, a lot of cool characters, and then we're going to do a vinyl bank of Gypsy Avenger. The big one is of Gypsy Danger, actually, from the first movie. That's the first thing we've done from the first movie. But the vinyl bank will be of Gypsy Avenger. We have the what are they called? The Deforms, which is our new line of like kind of super deformed, if you know that style, chibi style, some people call it now. The robots and the kaiju, and then we've got the action figures. Series 2 just hit not too long ago, and Series 3 is up for pre-order now. I'm not sure the exact ship date on that. Might be as early as fall, because I believe we had production samples at San Diego. Another thing we had on display that we haven't put up for pre-order yet is one of those gallery PVCs, 9 to 10 inch scale. Gypsy Avenger, and he's standing on a cool ruined city base with like a crumbling building and stuff. It's one of the coolest galleries we've ever done.
That came out really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to have that, and I want us to do more like destroyed building diorama stuff like that. For if not for this line, then for in general, just to sell. I'd love us to just get in the ruined building business, because I think it'd be something that would have a lot of I see a lot of people building their own, or like having to get them from other sets, like train sets and stuff like that. I don't think there have been a lot of people making, at least certainly not in America. I mean, there may be something in Japan, the wrecked building thing that goes good with like Godzilla figures and stuff. But I'd love to see that.
When I bought Series 1 of Pacific Rim, I ran into a problem. I was like, well, all the pop-ups and dios I have, these are out of scale. Like, I need to find something that looks remotely like tech with these guys, because I don't have any buildings and stuff, because I really don't have figures that represent that scale well. But after I played around with them and stuff, they were fun with any scale. And but those came out really good. Kudos to the team for really making affordable Pacific Rim figures that I thought really have their own mark, that shine really good.
Thank you. I think those were sculpted by a company called Big Shot Toy Works. I don't think we'd really worked with them previously, but they've been doing a great, amazing work on the whole range of Pacific Rim stuff. And the figures are really great. They're a lot of fun to play with. I too had that problem when I was taking pictures. I have some diorama background, like backdrops, paper backdrops that are like cityscapes. And I was able to use some of those, but sometimes I had to do like some creative angles, like putting them on the ground in actual cities. Like I took them to Chicago, and I was walking around outside the convention center, trying to find places to put them where they looked like they were taller than the buildings. Or I had them up in my hotel room, and I was like putting them in the window and making it look like they were taller than the buildings. And it was a lot of trick photography involved. But no, I'd love to have something to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, I figure with Series 2 and onwards, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go to downtown Denver and go on a parking garage and figure out how to work those to have really showcase those a little better.
There you go. That's definitely no. If you can get on a rooftop in a city, then you got everything you need. Absolutely.
Right? Like it was like one of those things. Funny side story, real quick, because when you start talking about having the figures out in a public place, it's always interesting to see normal people's reaction to adults taking pictures of toys. Prime example, I was in the park one day, I was taking pictures, and I was laying down and I had my headphones on. I'm setting up this shot, and it was like, I believe, with the NECA Jason figure and some of the Diamond Select Gotham lines, because I needed human characters. So I had my headphones on. Somebody called the cops. They either thought I was drunk or dead, and they brought out like the canine unit.
Wow.
So I come out off of this hill, and there's like 3 police cars, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I got toys in my hand. I'm like taking pictures of my toys. They're like, "You want to see?" So, and I show the cop on the phone, like, I'm taking pictures. This is what I'm doing. And they were like, "Oh, okay." And then they all left. I was like, and then recently I took a picture of something else, and this guy's like, "What are you doing down there?" This older guy, he looked like Dale from the Walking Dead comics. Taking pictures of my toys. Oh, that's cool, I guess. How's your day going? Start walking away from me. I was like, what? Like, why did you even ask what I was doing down here? If you, I don't know. People are strange.
They've never called the cops on me.
Well, I have, and it was fun.
I wish I'd been there to watch you showing the camera full of pictures to the policeman. That would have been fantastic.
See, that was the best part, because I'm sitting there. Yeah, look at this picture. Yeah, what do you think of this? Like, and he seemed more annoyed than anything else. A, that he was out there. B, that this stupid guy's playing with his toys. Like, what am I supposed?
I'd be mad at the person who called it in.
I would too, but what can you? I was like, whatever. So, and it's weird too, because like I'll take toys out, and then there'll be a whole bunch of little kids around, and I'm like, I don't need the cops called on me. It's time to just pack it up and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm not a beauty by any stretch of the imagination. So it's like, okay, you got this big guy playing with toys, and there's a whole bunch of little kids around him. I don't need that type of attention in my life.
Great part about being in New York City is when you lie on the street and you're like doing something that nobody can tell what you're doing. They just keep walking. They don't really pay attention. They're like, that's on every block around here.
I've never been to New York. We got invites to Toy Fair last year, but it came up so sudden. I was like, I can't make this. So I'm planning ahead. Hopefully it happens this year, but we'll see what happens.
That would be great. No, if you come out, I'll definitely love to see you.
Absolutely.
San Diego's also good for taking pictures because they have a lot of people lying on the street there too. I guess it's just Colorado where they're like, wait a minute, someone's lying down somewhere on the ground. That can't happen.
Well,
actually, given what I know of Colorado, I would think of Denver, that'd be a more common occurrence nowadays.
You would think. I'm in a suburb outside of Denver. Like, the suburbs in Colorado are all connected weird. But, like, people are strange. I don't know. We'll see what happens when I take a Pacific Rim downtown. We'll see what type of reactions I get.
Yeah, up on top of a parking garage above Colorado with a kid taking pictures with some sort of metallic object in your hand.
What's this person doing? I'm taking pictures. What are you doing? I don't know. Let's see here. Real quick, is there anything else that you that's coming up that any fan of Diamond Select should be aware of?
Let's see. Kingdom Hearts Series 3 just went for pre-order, and that's got our Tron figures in it. So you got Tron, you've got Space Paranoids version, you've got Tron, you've got Sark, and then you've got Space Paranoid's versions, the video game versions of Sora and Goofy and Donald. So they're all blue and white, tricked out. So that's pretty cool. A lot of people are really excited. Kind of like people are excited we're making the real Ghostbusters figures. They're also excited that we're making 7-inch scale Tron figures, which, aside from some of the stuff from the Legacy movie, um, there hasn't really been anything in that scale. They made some stuff for a video game. NECA did, I think, a long time ago, but it was a long time ago. So it's the first time anybody's done anything that's really specifically based on the 1982 movie. So that's cool. A lot of people are excited about that.
You guys had that Vinimate bike for Tron too, right?
Yeah, we're doing a light cycle for the Minimates line. Yeah, that's pretty cool too. Yeah, the Tron Minimate is actually out now in Series 1. He came with Donald. But Series 2 will have Sark and Space Paranoid's Goofy. And then there's going to be a box vehicle with Space Paranoid Sora. And you can ride on it too. It's kind of like, it's not really like the classic 82 bikes. I think they're more like this in the video game. But maybe kind of in the new movie. But, you kind of straddle it and, you lean forward into it, and it's actually the wheels on the front and back are kind of hover maglev kind of wheels, so they don't really work. But there's wheels on the underside, so it will actually roll. So that's kind of cool. If you dig the Minimates, we also did a Vinimate version of Tron Sora. I was hoping we would do a Vinimate of Tron and Sark. I don't know if that's still in the works. We kind of moved on to Kingdom Hearts 3 at this point, the new game. Because obviously there's a lot of heat around that new game. It's going to come out early next year, and we're going to have Vinimates for it and action figures for it. I don't know about Minimates for it. We'll have to see.
You guys are just all ready and pumped and ready to go. Of course, you guys are always I always tell people, because I don't know, the toy community can be strange sometimes. We all kind of get googly-eyed over certain things, and sometimes we'll look other things by, but I really do enjoy everything Diamond Select, so I want you guys to know that.
We have our hands in a lot of baskets. I guess our eggs are in a lot of baskets, so it's hard for people to kind of pigeonhole us and say, well, this is a kind of company that does this kind of stuff, because we do so many different kinds of things. But I hope that people like you, look at everything that we do and see that we're going for, that we're fans, and we're trying to do something that appeals to, even if they're all different kinds of fans, that we're trying to appeal to fans of the same things we do.
Well, I couldn't agree with that more sentiment if I tried. I just think that anything that you guys do, there's always something for everyone. You guys are the melting pot, if you will, I think, for collectors, because there's something for everyone. If you don't like this, well, hey, we got this. And if you don't like this, oh, look at that over there. And I think that's a really cool thing.
If this were a commercial for Diamond Select Toys, which it is turning into, I would say I would point out that our motto is our unofficial motto is the best of all worlds. It's kind of a little braggadocious saying that we're the best, but we try to make stuff based on the coolest things in all the different worlds of comics and TV and movies, but we also make all these different kinds of products. So we know that we're all over the place, but it keeps us from getting bored.
Well, that's a dang fine commercial, if I say so myself. All joking aside, though, you guys really do a great job, and you're easy on the wallet, and it's good quality. So I appreciate that you guys care about collectors like myself and many others. So thank you guys for that.
No, thank you. I'm a big fan of the work you do in your photography, so I look forward to seeing more of it.
Well, I do appreciate that. I'm just an average Joe, just taking pictures like anybody else. That's how I try to approach it. But thank you. It really does mean a lot. Like I said, I've followed you a lot through the years. So you've kind of been there, like toy wise. Like there's certain people in the toy community. You got figurehead people, or you just think that person's associated with this, that, and I mean, you're one of those people. So thank you. It means a lot.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, folks, in closing, I just want to thank you for your time as always, Zach. And where can they follow you and all the great stuff from Diamond Select at?
On Twitter, Diamond Select is Collect DST, and I'm a Zach Oat, ZACHOAT. And on Facebook, we've got a Diamond Select Toys page, all one word. And we're also Collect DST on Instagram, and I'm on Instagram too at ZACHOAT, Zach Oat. But I post all my DST photography is on the Collect DST pages, and but I'll also put some more stuff on my website, on my own personal pages.
So, folks, that's going to do it for our interview with Zach over at Diamond Select Toys. Zach, a huge thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with me and chat about all things toys that went down at San Diego Comic-Con. I really appreciate everything that Diamond Select does. If you want to learn more about Diamond Select, I will have links in the description about where you can follow them on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on the World Wide Web. That's right. I think people hate it when you call it the World Wide Web, but I did, so deal with it. On a lighter note, I want to thank anyone who's listening to this. I appreciate it. I appreciate taking time out of your day to listen to what's going on over here at Crisis in the Toyverse and everything else that's with Undercover Capes. And speaking of Undercover Capes, for all things geekery, go check out undercovercapes.com today. They cover reviews for comics, movies, TVs, collectibles, hint, hint, and a plethora of other fine things. Go check them out, undercovercapes.com. While you're on the World Wide Web, you like any of the pop-ups that I've used in any of my reviews, go do yourself a favor. Head over to extreme-sets.com. They got some amazing pop-ups that you guys will enjoy. And I say that because I love using them. They are a friend of the show, no doubt. But at the end of the day, they make a quality product that's sure to enhance any toy photography. Speaking of toy photography, head over to Instagram. If you get some free time, you could throw a follow at Toy Lover Crew, doing some amazing toy art. Some very talented people over there. We try to feature as many people in the toy community as we can, and it's just a lot of fun, so go check that out. Also, speaking of checking things out, you can check out me on Instagram and Twitter by using the handles Bobo Effin Mac. And if you want to join me on Facebook, it's always Bobo Mac. But guys, thank you so much. Send your feedback, both positive and negative. I will definitely take it all into consideration. Guys, take care. Thank you so much. And until next time, great googly boogly.